eloquently speaking. Welcome back to another episode of Legal Talk, where law meets justice and advocacy becomes action. I'm your host, Dr. Vickie Simon, and today we need to be very clear about what's happening in this country. What we are experiencing right now is not dysfunction. It is not confusion, and it is absolutely not accidental. It is a series of deliberate decisions with real consequences. Healthcare didn't collapse by accident. The IRS didn't grind to a complete halt by coincidence. And voting rights didn't weaken on their own. Crises do not appear out of nowhere. They are manufactured through votes, vetoes, delays, and refusal to act. When the government shuts down, that is a choice. When federal workers are furloughed, that is a choice. When enforcement agencies are stripped of their resources, that is a choice. And those choices, unfortunately, they have to land somewhere. So they land on families that are waiting for their tax refunds. They land on patients that are losing their coverage. They land on communities that are watching their rights shrink quietly. Accountability begins when we stop asking what happened and we start asking who decided this and why. Let's talk plainly about what government shutdown really does. Shutdowns don't hurt lawmakers, they hurt systems. When the IRS is furloughed, enforcement doesn't just slow down. It weakens where it matters the most. And here's what that means. High income and corporate audits are now paused. Tax enforcement becomes inconsistent. Fraud risks increase. Refund delays hit working families first. And compliance becomes optional for those who have resources. The IRS is one of the few tools this government has to enforce fairness and revenue collection. And when it is defunded or immobilized, the message is very clear. Rules are flexible for the powerful, and consequences are permanent for everyone else. That is not chaos. That is selective paralysis. Accountability does not live in press conferences. It does not live in sound bites, and it does not live in outreach cycles. It lives in budget committees, appropriation votes, regulatory enforcement, contract renewals, and oversight or the lack of it. If you want to understand power, then follow who controls enforcement timelines. Follow who benefits from the shutdowns, and follow who profits when systems stall. Systems do exactly what they are rewarded to do. And right now, instability is being rewarded. Now, we need to talk about voting rights because this is not history. This is active erosion. The 1965 Voting Rights Act was not symbolic. It was functional. Its enforcement mechanism stopped states from quietly suppressing voters through technical barriers and administrative gains. When those protections are weakened or overturned, the results are predictable. Polling places will now disappear. Voter rolls will be purged. Lines will grow longer in specific communities, and early and mail-in voting will shrink significantly. Access will now become conditional. And here's the truth most people are trying to avoid. When voting access shrinks, accountability disappears. Healthcare policies collapse faster. Shutdowns become easier to justify. And public oversight will weaken significantly. Communities lose leverage before they ever reach the ballot. You cannot claim democracy while disabling participation. This is not reform, and that is not containment. Hospitals are not just places of care. They are shock absorbers for policy failure. Hospitals observe uninsured patients created by legislative rollbacks, delayed reimbursements caused by these shutdowns, staff burnout that is fueled by instability, and compliance demands without any funding. Shock observers will absolutely wear out. When hospitals close services or shut down entirely, that is not mismanagement. It is survival. Providers are being asked to practice medicine inside broken systems, and then they get blamed when the outcomes suffer. That is not accountability. That is deflection. Patient advocacy is no longer optional support. It is infrastructure. Advocates now do the work that the system no longer reliably does. Explaining coverage changes, fighting denials, navigating shutdown related delays, and preventing people from disappearing quietly. When advocacy is underfunded, silence fills those gaps, and silence always benefits power. Real accountability would be boring, and that is the point. It would look like stable multi-year healthcare funding, automatic continuation of subsidies, fully funded enforcement agencies, protected and enforceable voting rights, transparent pricing, enforced network adequacy. None of this is radical. It is basic governance. What's missing is not solutions. What's missing is pressure. This is where listening becomes responsibility. And action will look like me asking for you to document everything. Document your denials, your delays, the closures. Paper trails will create leverage. Organize locally. Visit your hospital boards, your city councils. Show up at your election offices because these rooms, they matter. Support advocacy groups. They are doing unpaid labor the system has abandoned. And refuse silence because silence is not neutrality. Silence is consent. Accountability is not emotional. It is persistent. Shutdowns are warnings. Furloughs are pressure tactics. Defunding agencies are signals. Dismantle voting rights are the end game. When people can't vote freely, when agencies can't enforce laws, when healthcare collapses quietly, power stops answering to the public. This is our window. This is our time. Do not wait after the next election. Do not wait after the next shutdown. The time is now. If today's episode moved you, organize. If it informed you, share it. If it challenged you, plan. And if it reminded you that power lives in people, act. When fear breaks us down, strategy builds us back up. Legal talk isn't just commentary, it's resistance. It's a call to action and a reminder that justice never comes from silence. Thank you for tuning into Legal Talk today. I'm your host, Dr. Vickie Simon. I love you, and I'll see you on the front lines of reform. Until next time, stay informed, stay ethical, and keep serving your community.